security there. Maybe the police that are posted there are too few and you need more, or even if they are more and they are helpless, they cannot handle the insecurity effectively. Do they need an added hand, like the Air Force should come and patrol the area at night and in the day? They keep flying over to check if the area is safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. Now proceed with those questions.
Thank you, Chair. The allegation that 60% of any county in Kenya is controlled by Al-Shabaab is false, is not true, and is not the position of the government. Two, we will neutralize all the rest of our national security, wherever they come from. Therefore, I want to agree with the member for Kibra that we must be ruthless with all the rest of our national security. And that's why I assured the country we will fix the problem. I have already told you, without saying so many things, that there are some things we are working on, including the modernization of equipment. And the less these things are discussed, the better. Get it from us. We will not spare any effort, because allowing the prevailing situation to escalate will be giving up our country to evil people and to criminals. I have promised the country that we will fix the problem in the north in the coming weeks, in the coming months, and you will see activities, you will read about them, you will see us. My request is we do not politicize the law enforcement, and threats to national security, wherever they come from, should be treated as such, whether they are from Al-Shabaab, whether they are from political fundamentalists or extremists to do damage to the country's security, we'll treat them as such. And as soon as the country stabilizes, we have no business even engaging with politicians, because that's not our forte. Chair, I take offense as a Kenyan when we accuse public officers on the basis of certain heads of security agencies coming from somewhere. These are officers of the Republic of Kenya, agencies. You are jeopardizing the national interest, so I will not venture into that discussion. The border is not open. The border is not open. Is the border porous? Yes. What are we doing about it? As we speak, we have a team that is trying to, a multi-agency team that is around, the border from last week. And we are going to see how we can enhance our border control and border management system. But the allegation that the border between Kenya and Somali is open are not true. I am the minister in charge of borders. I have not presided over the opening of any border post. And that policy, which was put in place in 2011, has not been revised, not by Cabinet, not by the National Security Council, and not by the minister. The rest is politics. Chair, with regard to the issue of formed units, a question was asked whether we need more of these units. We don't need. I think what we need to organize is the deployment and perhaps the equipment. Generally, Kenya has enough police officers. By way of example, members may want to know our current strength, which is around 110,000 police officers for a country of 53 million, is not a very bad ratio. If you compare, for example, with our neighbor, one of our neighbors, Tanzania, a country of 64 million people, their strength is around 46,000 police officers. 46,000 against 64 million. We are 52, 53 million, 110,000. So we are not doing badly.
What is the UN standard, Waziri?
It's 1 officer to 450, and we are approaching there. We are around 600. We are approaching there.
That's good, yes.
Yeah. Chair, we cannot direct TSC. That's not our business. TSC is an independent commission under Chapter 15. What we do is they recommend to TSC. We do security assessment, and then we recommend the way we recommend to clients, other clients, including yourselves. Politicians, you're also our clients. So we can recommend and tell you, Mheshimiwa, here it's not safe for you, this is what you should do, it's up to you. But when the threat reaches a certain threshold, we can then impose mandatory security measures for purposes of public safety. So we encourage TSC to engage with us, and other stakeholders to engage with us, give us the needs and how they want those needs resolved. But at the moment, we cannot, for example, issue a directive to TSC that you must do this to teachers, you must transfer this number of teachers. We'll be violating the constitutional principles of independent institutions. But I agree, if we assess the threats to our teachers in that area and think that perhaps we need to take compulsory security measures, we will do so without hesitation in the national interest. One of the members said that the minister looks hopeless. Nothing can be further from the truth than that. You know, they say where there is a will, there is a way. The problems we are having in Northeastern are not impossible to tackle. That starts from there. They are not impossible to tackle. This country has enough wherewithal with a little bit of enhancement and coordination. We have enough strength, enough wherewithal, enough sophistication to neuter that threat. And therefore, I remain very optimistic that we will succeed. A question was asked how many people we have brought to book. We have brought to book very many people. But you see, and I don't know whether, Chair, your committee has visited some of these areas. You should go and spend time there. The member from Wajias there, Mandera South, will tell you, if you spend a day or two in that area, your mindset will change forever. In this sense.
Before members visit there, you need your assurance. Yes, and security.
It is part of Kenya. You should visit.
No, first of all,
you should visit.
I, being a committee member, Chair, in 2012, we did visit after the Gwari attack, and it was a very, very traumatizing situation.
Should visit so that you see where those teachers teach and where they spend.
But You know, members can be a premium target for Al-Shabaab, so we need to...
I hope the teachers are not watching this proceedings. Yes. because, and I believe, Chair, with a lot of respect, and that's where we go wrong. If our teachers are there, our members of parliament should go there. The minister must go there. Everybody must go there. Otherwise, we are telling our teachers that we have condemned them to go there and die. The reason I go to visit my officers there is because they are there, they are working there, so the minister must go there. And I expect every other person, heads of agencies, TSC heads, other people, the question should be, can we be facilitated to go there? The question should not be, we cannot go there, because then we are sending the wrong message to our teachers.
But we are telling you, we are ready to go there under your...
Where is the request?
Security. We shall give
you
a security.
Very well. Thank you, Chair. Other than that, I think we have... Chair, I am happy to report, actually, despite the few evil successes by terrorists, we have neutralized thousands, hundreds of threats. And many of them are not reported because of the nature of the operation, because these are armed operations. As we speak, we had an attack yesterday, I said, at the intersection of Lamu and Tana River, where the public was attacked by over 60 armed terrorists in different groups. And the target was to hurt very many people. Now that operation has been going on since yesterday. And I can report we have neutralized all those threats. All the people who attacked our people yesterday have been neutralized. All of them. All of them. So we cannot.
Maybe just for clarification, when you know, for us now we are lay people. When you talk of neutralization, what do you mean? Arrested? What do you mean? Just for us to understand.
It means the threats don't exist anymore. Because these were people who are targeting to harm passengers in 4 different buses, which was carrying a total of 200 people. As I said, luckily, on that highway between Lamu and Witu Garsen, we do what we call picketing, which is occasional patrols, not occasional, patrols throughout of security agencies, different agencies. So what happened is that the agencies were nearby and the response was very fast. So we ended up unfortunately losing one person on the spot, another one died on the way to hospital because they were shot on the head. But the attackers were many and heavily armed, and we have been able to neutralize all of them. All of them. So there are so many success stories. And therefore, we must continually commend our security officers. We have lost many of them in some of these engagements. I am also proud to say that we have had no casualties in the operation of yesterday and early today morning. No casualties on our side. So many of these terrorists have been brought to book in one way or the other. That is my answer. Those that we arrest, we take them to court. We have anti-terrorism court here in Kamîtî and other places in Shanzu. Those that we arrest, we take them to court. But many of them, there is no chance to arrest them. The opportunity to arrest them is not there, because it's either they clear our officers or, yes, so that's what happens. So yeah, let's leave it there and say that is there goodwill? Again, I am reluctant to blame any particular person without evidence. But let me put it this way, that the Al-Shabaab and other terrorists cannot succeed unless they are aided and abetted by some of us, members of our society, who give them food, intelligence, and other local information. That is the truth. Let's be honest with each other. And it doesn't have to be a politician or a chief. Even local communities, our own brothers and sisters, our intelligence is showing that in some of the attacks, when we do investigations, we find that the attackers could have accessed the village or the target 2-3 days before, and there were people, citizens of Kenya, who were supplying them with food, for example. Kenyans, for money, they get a little amount of money from these fellows, and they give information. So we have a lot of work to do without blaming each other, because the greed, the culture of greed for money is not just a problem with us who are in high office. Even our brothers and sisters in the villages suffer the same culture. You get 100,000 and you sell information that leads to a successful terror attack. So we must work together with elected leaders, government officials, communities, and own up to our own national problem of greed, which has assisted some of these terrorists to succeed in their attacks. So I believe there is goodwill, and if there are one or two people who may not be cooperating, it's because it's a systemic national problem where people are not patriotic enough to detest this kind of attacks on our national security. Let me put it this way, Chair. I have decided I will not blame anybody. I have decided as the Security Minister of Kenya, the buck stops with me. And that's why I gave the assurances I gave. The buck stops here. I will not blame the officers. I will not blame the community. I will not blame politicians. The buck stops here.
And I think what you proved yourself, especially in the North Rift. I think we have seen some tranquility.
Same case.
Some schools are opening up. If with the same gusto and determination, I think we can expect good results from Northeastern.
Thank you, Chair. I will take responsibility for good results and even bad results. I'll take responsibility. Nobody else should be blamed. Then, Chair, as I went up, there was a question about what we are doing to encourage information sharing and intelligence gathering. In northern Kenya, we are investing in creating more administrative units, and we have already mapped out the whole region, and we have a whole program starting even I think as early as next week I'll be in that region to try and operationalize some new administrative units so that you can bring services closer to the people, and we have enough more officers who can assist and work with communities to help us get community input into intelligence gathering. And we have decided, because we have a number of demands for more administrative units across the country, our number one criteria, the criteria number one, priority number one before we approve new units is security. Because we know population is a factor, but there are some populous areas which the security needs are a little lesser than other areas of the country. So security becomes a very key criteria in this. The must that my brother, the member for Mandera South, has talked about will not be pulled down, will not be taken anywhere. In fact, we will add more. That must is a major communication installation. It cannot be pulled down by anybody. We will use all the methods and all the instruments of the state to make sure that that mast is repaired. I think they want to reconstruct it afresh because it was significantly damaged, and we'll have more of those installations. As to whether we should have a special police unit on schools, we already have the critical infrastructure police unit, and schools are part of our critical infrastructure, but we can see how we can enhance deployments of SIPU, although the kind of threat we have there is not really on the protection of the school itself, the facility. And that's why other formed units are more, other deployments of other formed units is more appropriate than just even adding SIPU officers. As a policy, we will also be decreasing, as I have said, the presence of general duty police officers in areas with extreme security challenges and deploy more formed units, specialized elite police forces, because a small number has even much greater results. A small number of elite units has greater results than even a bigger number of general duty personnel. Finally, I believe by the time schools reopen, it will be safe for our teachers to return. We will work very hard between now and then to arrest the current situation in that area. And we, as one of the immediate measures, are going to set up more FOBs, forward operating bases, which will enhance our capabilities for special and elite formations of our security agencies. And in this regard, we are working very closely with the Kenya Defence Forces. And I will want to leave it at that. I don't want to give more details. Mine is just to assure you, Chair and members, that we realize we have a big problem there. We realize we have lost 37 teachers in 10 years. Those are too many. We realize we have lost some engineers, about 8 of them, in separate attacks this year. We have also lost approximately 30 officers of the National Police Service and the Kenya Defence Forces in that general area. We must arrest the situation, and we are determined. I give you and the country hope that we will get the situation right in the coming weeks and months, and Northeastern will enjoy peace and tranquility than before, and in the same standard as other parts of Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you, Waziri. I think members, we are through with our discussion. And Waziri, I want to note, to bring to your attention that this committee over the years have actually influenced the policy direction on teacher management in Northeastern region, more so on security matters. And the current happenings will actually also influence our decision on how to handle teacher management and policy directions on Northeastern, especially in regard to how Teacher Service Commission is handling the teacher recruitment, the teacher security, the teacher management, and even going forward on how we'll handle even the training of the locals to the teaching service. So, Waziri, your participation here is, your input is quite critical to this committee. It is critical to even ensuring that the whole region stabilizes in terms of integration matters like the rest of the Republic. So I want to thank you so much, and I would just want to ask you one issue, that you will provide this committee with actually some documentation, especially on the issue of the current state of the school infrastructure attacks and specific areas where, when we sit as a committee, we should be able to actually advise and even talk with the Teacher Service Commission on those particular areas, more so on the critical areas the schools that are being targeted, the counties that are more prone to, and all that. So you can actually give the Secretariat that particular information. It is very important for us. Thank you so much, Waziri. I think the kind of work you did in the North Rift and opening up of schools in Baringo is actually a motivation to this republic, that you are able, you will be able to do it well. And more so even what you've done to the streets of this town, where you've restored law and order. Thank you so much. And that's why we want to thank you for that. Asante sana, our meeting is over. Asante. members kindly remain behind. And thank you, members of the fourth estate, for covering up. Asante sana.
The power of the chair.